What plots dance within their heads? Are their goals the same as mine?
Moloch eyed the group carefully as another hour of trudging through the brush and fallen trees passed.
Do they share the same paranoia I have of them? I know they don't think highly of my craft, but to abandon or strike me down, is it possible?
With a shake of his head, the stone user finally let those thoughts move on.
There is a clearing ahead.
Moswin spoke low but clear.
Watch your sounds.
Zeba pulled his staff from his back.
What do you sense, wizard?
Safina's voice came as a loud whisper over her shoulders. Moloch came to a stop at the entrance of the clearing and closed his eyes. His outer eyes. Then, with a thought and a secret motion, he opened his inner eyes. Every stone user was warned the inner eyes could only briefly see the outside world. The outer eyes weren't meant to see the inner world. Tales of madness and evil abounded for those who didn't heed the warnings.
The beauty that is the framework of reality cannot be realized by mortal eyes. The viewer will lose their sense of self and vanish forever.
In that smallest of peaks, Moloch could see lines and spheres, magical boundaries set by plants and animals, traces of manipulated energy, a stream of charged air encircling the clearing, moon power, wild and untamed touching everything.
The villagers were right. Creatures live in these woods.
Moloch opened his outer eyes.
What kind?
Moswin had moved further into the clearing than the rest.
Two-legged and twisted, wild and undisciplined in nature. They are tied to this place.
Moloch thought about closing his eyes again, but refrained.
But they can be killed with mortal weapons?
Safina looked back at Moloch.
That, I cannot tell.
Moloch frowned.
And they are not nearby, correct?
Moswin lowered to one knee as he reached the center of the clearing. Moloch didn't need his inner eyes to know the creatures weren't here. He nodded affirmatively as his sight moved over the foliage ringing the opening. There were other feelings and scents floating about.
Magical forces we use. Magical forces we vanquish. We use the magic to defeat the magic. We use the moon to fight the moon. How does that make sense?
He wielded the same power that gave these creatures life, used it to give them death. In his thoughts, the stone user wanted to compare it to life fighting life, but it never quite felt the same. There was something else going on. Something his training hid from him. He could feel the secrets just out of reach.
The moon gives us the power to fight the moon. The moon defends us from the moon. From the moon pours the power to stand against the beasts brought forth by the moon.
Moloch removed a stone from his pouch and saw it was pulsing with green light. The three knights were still watching him.